Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging, where in every episode, my guests and I, we strive to offer you proven tips and strategies that you can implement immediately to greatly improve your overall health and well-being. So we're here to inspire you and empower you to become your best self so you can go out and make a bigger positive impact in the world. Now, we have a great show for you today. We have four really important segments. The first one is entitled Reframing Pain, how understanding pain can help you age fearlessly and live fully. And you're going to learn some really proven tips and strategies that if you're having chronic pain, how you can deal with it in a much more satisfactory way. So you want to be sure and check out this episode. The next one is a real fun one. It's called The Wild World of Dating 50, 60, and Beyond. Our dating coach, she's an expert dating coach that has a really high success rate with getting you hooked up and married and staying married if that's what your goal is. So this is going to be a real fun one. And then the third one is, do you have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder? And so you're gonna learn the symptoms of that, and if you do have that, how you can deal with it in a much better way. And then the final one, we have a short one called Laughter as Medicine. So be sure and stay to the end, watch all the shows to the end, because all of our guests have some great gifts for you. So you'll learn how you can get their gifts and how you can contact them and learn more about what they have to offer. So we have a short message from our sponsor, and then we'll get into the first show.
In a perfect in a perfect world, we would all be happy, healthy, and successful. But stress, family, genetics, and life's little surprises take their toll on our brains, our bodies, and our psyche. And our quality of life suffers because we're not functioning at our best. Well, you can start by training your brain with the Quantum Mind method. This is not a game, and it's not a toy. It's developed by the world's only brainwave entrainment engineer, backed by over 40 years of research and development. It's 100% natural and couldn't be easier to use. With regular listening, your brain will naturally become stronger, more efficient, your most reliable ally, and all with almost no effort. You can achieve anything you want and get the most out of your life with the Quantum Mind method. The world is yours, so take it. Take it now.
All right, here's our episode, how to deal with your pain. Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. Welcome to this segment of Fearless Aging. And the title of this segment is a really important one. It's entitled Reframing Pain, how understanding pain can help you age fearlessly and live fully. That's what we're all about here. And so our expert guest, his name is Alex Crowther. Crowther. He's a pain coach and he's author of the book Reframing Pain, Understanding Pain in Everyday Terms. So, Alex Crowther, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, Rico, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. And again, I just want to start by thanking you for your work. This is such an important topic. So many people are living in chronic pain. So I know you've gone through this, and you come up with some ways how you can really deal with it. So this is a great topic. So how about let's start just kind of briefly talk about your journey.
Yeah, look, my journey was one of quite a lot of suffering, and my goal now is to try and help people fast track that suffering as best they can. So I was involved, I believe the start of my pain was a car accident in 2012. Not exactly sure what kicked it off, but I ended up having surgery on one of my, but both hands had an issue after the accident, and I did surgery on my left hand. That hand never seemed to heal. I was constantly back to the doctor, to the point where he basically turned me over to somebody else, the surgeon. Anyway, then started a process of about 10 years of escalating pain in different parts of my body. And only after 10 years of many visits and many thousands of dollars in experimental treatments and all sorts of things, did I finally get a diagnosis, which was complex regional pain syndrome. It's a disease that is marked as being the most painful condition known to medicine.
Wow.
And it affects about 200,000 people in the US. And so I decided that if I was going to have this pain and have it be such an interrupting part of my life, I needed to give it some purpose. That was a decision that I made. I mean, I was sat in the chair behind me for days and months and weeks and hours, basically losing my mind, not knowing what to do with this pain. And, through that journey, I accidentally discovered, in a very low moment, I discovered this thing called pain coaching. And, I met a coach and started doing this pain coaching thing, which is really a coach is a coach, whether it's a tennis coach or a pain coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone to basically take you on a journey. And what my pain coach did is they explained what pain was in my brain, how it worked, so I got to understand pain. And then they helped me with all number of tricks and tips and techniques that really helped me over time. Over about 6 months, I was able to slowly lower the intensity of my pain. Frankly, through just a better understanding of what it was and these little tools and tricks. So once I kind of came out of it, and I still live with quite a lot of pain today, I discovered that what I would do is try and understand, what do you do to get this education and all of that good stuff. So I ended up actually going to the source, and that source ended up actually needing some of the skills I had. I'd spent 30 something years in advertising, and had reached some pretty good executive levels, and was used to running these big businesses. And so they needed a little bit of my help, and I certainly needed a lot of their help. And so ultimately, I became the CEO of this business through supporting and working with them and everything else. And so, that's my 2-minute version of kind of who I am and how I got here.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, and probably a lot of people in our audience can relate to that as well. So before we talk about in some of the, like you mentioned, some of the sort of tricks and things and you discover that can really make a difference, talk about how you discovered there's really a whole mind, body, and spirit connection, and when you begin to understand that, how it directly supports you to live
Yeah.
healthier and without pain.
Yeah, look, so I found it, Rico, in a moment of actual real desperation. I was, frankly, I was ready to leave this earth. I wanted to be done. I was living 24/7 in the most excruciating pain. And I'm talking about pain like, imagine slamming your hands both in the door and that immediate fit, and that's what I'm living with. That was what it was. And it sort of makes you crazy. Like, it literally will make you nuts. And so I'm sitting in the chair trying to figure out, like, I just want to be done. And so I was trying to find a resource actually to help me do that. Okay, which is I hate to say this, but that's what I was doing. And I was looking for a pain counselor, someone that would understand enough that would actually help me kind of try and exit this world. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, in that little Google search, this pain coaching thing popped up on the screen. And I investigated it. And within 24 hours, I was meeting with this coach. And, the very first thing we tend to do in pain coaching is help somebody understand what's going on with pain, because we'll all go to the doctors like we're supposed to and everything else. But what doesn't really happen is there's no real good explanation of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And by understanding what's going on in the brain and the body, we can just sort of better understand this whole thing. And what happens is, with pain, you if you touch a hot stove, you get this signal, and the signal isn't pain. The signal is alert. It's a signal that goes from your finger up to your through your spinal column and up to your brain. And your brain decides if it's going to make the ouch, or if it's going to make a tickle, or if it's going to make an itch. And so we start to learn things like that. And then the other things we start to learn, Rico, are how the more often you receive those signals, the harder wired the brain becomes and the better it becomes at sending that ouch signal, that pain signal. So the more you do it, the more you practice it, like speaking French or Italian, or playing the piano or riding a bicycle, the better you become at it. And that's the fundamentals of neuroplasticity. Well, the really cool thing about it, as terrible as that is, the great thing about it is if we can learn pain, we can also dismantle it, and we can learn the opposite of pain, which is safety. Safety is the opposite of pain. And so what we're able to then do, and then the techniques that your coach will apply are helping you to learn safety. And these are not very complicated things. These are things as basic as, and we've heard of a lot of them, things like calming the brain and everything else. But simple things like you might catch me.
Well, Alex, before we get into those actually things, I just want to say to our audience, because this is an important point, is it's what I'm really hearing from you. No matter what you're dealing with, there's always a solution, and you don't have to give up. You don't have to say, well, there's nothing I can do about it, because our bodies are always in the process of trying to heal itself. We just have to find out what we need to do to support our body so our body can heal itself. So I think that's the great message that you have is no matter how severe, whatever you're dealing with, there's always answers. There's always people that can help you. So that's the message I think that we really want to get out to people. And so, yeah, so let's talk about again, let's talk about how you do reframe the pain and some of the techniques that people can use.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Rico. Everything has a solution, and so some of these techniques are, if you were to walk into my house, I mean, you might find me, can you hear me, Rico?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so some of these techniques I will do is I sometimes talk to my brain as if it's a second person. It's kind of silly. I imagine my brain as being this other individual, and I try to talk to it like it's a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old.
Oh, you should.
Because my logical brain, it knows that I'm safe. I know that I'm in a nice warm house and I'm protected from the elements. But what I'll do is I'll try and give my brain this reassurance that we're safe. And so the easiest way I found to do that is if I imagine I'm talking to the 8-year-old, the 10-year-old version of me, the way we would talk to an 8-year-old or 10-year-old. And I very literally tell myself, there is no tissue damage. There is no underlying concern, that I am safe. Thank you for giving me the protection and sending me those little pain signals, but I'm okay. And it's mysterious, but it does. These things bring down the pain. I mean, it sounds like it's crazy that it would work, but they work. Okay. Along with if I'm we learn what our triggers are, and in the book I explain. And this book's free. Like, I'm not self-promoting. I've just got some of these little tips and tricks in this book that will explain things like, I know that there's 2 or 3 things that I can do that will help bring my pain down. And I call that a trigger response plan. So when I'm having a bit of a flare, instead of having to think about these 3 things that I might do, taped inside my kitchen cabinet, I know that I've got these things that I can go to. So I know, for example, that if I'm in a noisy environment, that's going to help. That's going to elevate my central nervous system. Big noises like really escalate my pain. I'll remove myself from those sorts of environments. Whilst meditation does help me, we don't need to be sitting doing hours long of meditation. It's literally sitting quietly just for a minute, closing our eyes and doing some very simple breathing techniques. And again, I've got those listed. They are not difficult. They are very accessible. We can all breathe. And so the combination of just a few of these techniques of telling myself that I'm safe, doing some breathing exercises, et cetera, et cetera. And so I've laid out a bunch of these, but it's all about just bringing our bringing our state down just a ever so little. So the combination of one, understanding what's going on in your brain, plus applying some of these very simple and straightforward techniques in a little bit of a sequence, we can bring down these levels of pain. And so when you're working with a pain coach, you'll build these programs and you'll work through, you'll set goals and you'll work through programs of things that you can do individually tailored to you that will help bring the experience of pain down.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's no different to a golf coach or a tennis coach or a language coach. It's somebody that works with you, that understands pain neuroscience, that can help you individually put together plans to bring down your pain.
Yeah, that's so good, Alex. I just want to add, yeah, coaching is known to be the surest and fastest ways to achieve your goals in any aspect of life. And so we'll definitely put in the show description how people can get a free copy of your ebook, and then also how they can contact you and learn more about your coaching programs. Uh, do you like offer a initial consultation with people? And
Yeah, so what I've got set up is we've got it set up a couple of different ways. So yeah, my book, it's very obvious on the website. Then what Pain Coach Academy does is we actually train people to become pain coaches. This is
okay,
something that is really, really interesting to a lot of folks that have a lived experience of pain, go on then to become a pain coach. This is a terrific career for some people that live with pain. So that's the main underpinnings of what we do and how we survive. But on the website, we have a find a coach section where you can click on there, and there'll be a directory, and then you can find your coach.
very good. Well, Alex, thank you very much for all this great information, and thanks for the work that you're doing. And so we're really out of time, but I just again I want to really encourage our audience. If you're dealing with any kind of pain, you definitely want to check this out. So thank you for being here, Alex. That was great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're back. So I have a short message for you, and then we'll get into the segment on the wild world of dating over 50. What if in your 60s, 70s, and 80s you were healthier, stronger, with more vitality than in your 40s? It's not genetics, it's not luck, it's the ageless living lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Rico Cavaglia, creator of the Ageless Living Lifestyle. I've had the good fortune to work with hundreds of individuals just like you who greatly improve their overall health and well-being. And my clients aren't just staying healthy, they're out hiking mountains, playing sports, and feeling better in their 70s and 80s than they did in their 40s. My clients and I are living agelessly, and I know you can as well. So let's have a friendly conversation about your personal aging challenges and your goals. There's no pressure, just an honest conversation about where you are now and where you want to be, and whether the ageless living lifestyle is a good fit for you. So I'm here for you. Let's talk.
Hello, I'm Rico Cavaglia. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And we got a really interesting title today. The title of this episode is The Wild World of Dating Over 50 and 60 and Beyond. It's all about how to meet your life partner this year. And our expert guest, her name is Amy Schoen. She's a professional certified life coach. She has helped seriously searching men and women get off the dating merry-go-round and finally find their true love partner. She's also the author of Motivated to Marry. Now there's a better method to dating and relationships, and the book Get It Right This Time, How to Find and Keep Your Ideal Romantic Partner. So Amy Schoen, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Rico.
Yeah, so let's just begin. Just real briefly, tell us how you got started and decided to become a
A
dating
relationship.
coach, a
Yeah,
relationship coach.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I went through a divorce in my mid-30s. It was early for me, in life, and I never expected to be divorced. There was nobody really divorced in my family. So it was quite a shock. And I had to learn how to get back out there and to really know myself. And I actually hired a coach when I turned 40 because I was running around in circles and not meeting the kind of men I wanted. Back then, I was, very motivated to marry, which is the name of my website, but that's a choice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a family. I didn't have my family yet. So back then, I mean, that's kind of, what was, you can see a picture. That was my engagement picture behind me with my husband. So yeah, people started sending people to me after I met my husband, and I met my husband and got married, and I realized there was a pattern going on. And I had learned some things through my coach, but I also actually decided to switch careers, and coaching came up as a great, career for me with having a family at home. And just the dating coaching found me basically. And I went and I got trained and certified so I could help people with the right skills. And then, I just taken off from there. So
And and so, when did you discover that there's a big market for people, 50, 60, 70, even 80? There's a big market for
well,
those
the
people.
funny thing is that market found me. So I'm now
Uh,
in my mid 60s. And originally I was, attracted to the people like myself who were like, wanting to be married. Our friends were all married, having families, feeling left behind. But what I found right now is, I mean, I have people coming to me. A majority of my clients are now over 50, and they want a partner for the stage of their lives. We've been through the pandemic. People don't want to be alone. I have
mhm,
clients who are retiring and they really want to have that special person in their life, to have a companion. They value companionship. And so, yeah, so I mean, my clients, kind of the market found me in a sense.
yeah, that's so good. And so the message here is that you can find love at any age, right?
Exactly, exactly. I have
Yeah.
clients I had a guy who was 77 who got married. Now, marriage is your choice, and
Uh-huh.
not all my clients get married, but they are in healthy, successful partnerships.
Yeah. And that also relates to wellness as well, because as you stated here in some of your information, you said that there's actually statistics that show that having a happy life partner will help to increase your happiness and your longevity, especially for
Exactly.
men. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
especially for men. They do better. And we're pack animals, we do better when we have somebody and that helpmate. And I hear from a lot of my clients, I work very deeply into values and the value of companionship and having someone there to
Hmm.
bounce things off. And, in good times and bad. I mean, I just, sprained my ankle, and thank God my husband was there to help me and get me to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. I mean, yes, you can have friends for that too,
Yeah,
but to have that special person, that one person who cares about you and will be there for you and all that is really important.
yeah.
And it turns out that most of my clients are meeting through online dating. I would say, large, 80% of my successfully coupled clients, and all ages again. I mean, I have a client right now who's 68 who met a partner through an online dating site, and another one who's in a new relationship. We'll see where it goes. Again, that was through online dating, and these people weren't in their backyards. They were
Look
like 5 hours away or a couple hours away. And so, with the online dating, it really gives you a more range of people that you can consider if you're open to it. You have to
at.
be open to it. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is, yeah, it's easy. You can definitely meet a lot of people on online, but how to, like, say, like what you do, how to find the right ones and how to see
Connect,
if this, yeah,
right?
is it's really someone I want to connect with or not. So that's I think your coaching is really valuable. So let's talk a little bit about your proprietary
System.
system. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I've created the Motivated to Marry Dating Secrets. Again, seriously searching, and really, it's a three-step process. The first step is really to help a client get really clear about who's the right person and what they
Hmm.
want for their lives. The first
Hmm.
step is you need to know your goals first and what you want before you can even bring a person into your life. Because
Hmm.
I've seen this situation, especially my 60 plus. One person wants to move move somewhere and the other person can't, doesn't, and they might like each other and have chemistry, but if you're going in a different
Yeah.
direction, you're not it's not going to sustain. It's not going to sustain. I've seen it time and time and time again. And the second part is to, help you figure out how to connect with that right person. So again, through the values work that I do, I really do a deep process where we really look at those relationship values that need to be aligned, and then we infuse them in your profile. A lot of ways times my clients meet through introductions, but they have to know how to ask for introductions. So again, communicating the right information to the right people. I even have a worksheet about who are your connectors, who are your network, social network.
Mm.
So you can think about who can you ask. I mean, there are people who, met people and they were, you know, they were their cousins or something, and especially now with this time of year, with the holidays, you're going to see people, and if they know you and they like you and they want to support you, then they'll be happy to introduce you if they know somebody. But you
Yeah.
have to jog somebody's memory.
Yeah.
And the third step is to help people create the relationship. So once they meet the person, it's the
Hmm.
now what. Can you build a relationship that's going to last the test of time? And I know as a coach, I've helped my clients really look at what's really important and help them scale through some, I call the little glitches. There's always something that
Hmm.
comes up, the uh-ohs or the glitches. Like, I didn't know that, or I didn't know that. And, it can be anything. It could be the adult children that cause issues. And so how to navigate around that and see if the partner is able to work with you around that. And so a lot of times, my clients do, like I say, go off to the sunset and, kind of have a wonderful life, and they're traveling and they're spending time with their families and they're doing, wonderful activities. And some people are still working, some of us are still working, right? And we don't see it as work. We see it as, I don't know, passion work,
Yeah.
passion projects. So yeah, so it works. I've been doing it for 20 years and I have hundreds of success stories at all ages, like I said. And my clients come to me, they're almost ready to give up.
Yeah.
I'm like the last resort. Yeah. I had a guy
Well,
who worked with
uh,
matchmakers for 9 years and then came to me, and within 3 months, he met his partner.
well, the good news is you should never give up with anything. There's always a solution. There's always something that can happen. If you just stay with it, right? I just want to let our audience know too that you have a nice free gift on your website. And we'll put all that information how you can contact Amy. But she has a free workbook, 5 signs you're ready for true love. So you definitely want to go there and check that out. Also, I would say the value of your coaching is to help people identify maybe like red flags and realize maybe this isn't somebody I want to get involved with, right?
Exactly, non-negotiables and, and things. So, yeah, we also work through, like, must-haves and would like to haves, but I find that people are putting things in the wrong place sometimes. They're putting boundaries that they maybe not need to do, or
Yeah.
they need to set better boundaries for themselves, and a lot of my clients have been hurt and throughout previous relationships and have to learn to trust themselves and trust their themselves, trust their mind, and trust that they can make good decisions for themselves. And I think that's really what I do as a coach is I help my clients feel more confident in themselves and their decisions.
Yeah. I would think so also, as we age, I mean, if you're already 60s or 70s, when we're younger, we have a lot bigger of agenda, the family, and we got to do this and then careers and all that. Isn't it, do you trying to help people just to realize, hey, we're past all that stuff. It's time to just mellow out and just to have somebody to enjoy and not have a big agenda, right?
Well, and that's up to the person. I mean, there are people with big agendas and,
Yeah.
many of us, there are people working and they have their new goals or whatever. They're volunteering or they're involved in other organizations and stuff. And that's great. So I think it's a choice today, that those people who want relationships, those people, it's about finding people who are like minded and who want what you want. And I was speaking to a coach today, and she's single and she's been divorced like twice. And she's like, I'm done. I'm happy by myself. And there are people like that. So
Mhm.
that's a discussion in my groups. I have groups that they say, my friends, they're not supportive. That my friends say, why are you doing this? Why do you care? And that's they have to be. That's what's nice about being in my world. I have people who are like similar, and then you're not feeling alone, and everybody's got the same goal that you do. So I do something called Meet Your Mate this year. I have a group that's starting in the new year.
Yeah. Well, so I think the message here is get some help though. Coaching is known to be the surest and fastest way to achieve your goals. So if this is something that you really want in your life, I highly recommend you get a hold of Amy. Again, she'll be a real valuable asset to you. So Amy, thank you very much for all the great information, and
Thank you.
thanks for
Thanks.
the work that you do,
I appreciate it.
and thanks to all of our audience for being here as well. Hello, we are back and ready for our next session, which is all about ADHD. Hello, I'm Rico Cavilla. Sorry. Hello, I'm Rico Cavilla. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of this episode is Do You Have ADHD and Don't Know It? It's about understanding undiagnosed ADHD and its impact across generations. And our expert guest, her name is Jami Shapiro. She's a certified senior move manager, a level 2 ADHD specialist with the Institute of Challenging Disorganization. She's ADDCA trained ADHD coach and certified senior advisor. She is also the author of This Explains So Much, all about understanding undiagnosed ADHD for those who have too much, feel too much, or been told they are too much. And she's also an international speaker. She speaks on the intersection of ADHD and aging. That's really what we're going to be talking about today. And she's also created the Grandma Has ADHD podcast, where she interviews experts and individuals affected by ADHD. So, Jami Shapiro, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I love being able to bring this conversation to older adults who have no idea that they have ADHD when we start this conversation and then walk away thinking, I think she was just talking about me.
I think that might be me, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
I
So,
hear
yeah.
it regularly.
And we haven't talked about this on the show before, so this is going to be a real interesting topic. So my first question, obviously, is really define what is ADHD.
Okay, so ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And
Okay.
you will hear people say, I have ADD, which is Attention Deficit Disorder.
Hmm.
And what we now, in the DSM 5, they changed everyone's attention deficit to ADHD. It's just different presentations. And not to get too clinical, but basically, it's completely mislabeled because the reality is that there's this perception that if you can focus on something, you must not have attention deficit. But ADHD is actually very interest driven. So, and I'll ask you these questions, Rico. So, if you are interested in something, will you like go down the rabbit hole and forget to eat and forget to maybe go to sleep or forget everything else that exists because you're working on it?
Probably not.
Okay. So people with attention with ADHD often will hyper focus on something that really interests us. And so
Okay.
we have this ability to tune everything else out and sit down and write a book or sit down and read or, whatever it is that it has to interest us. If it doesn't interest us, then it's going to be really difficult to get the motivation. And you'll hear a lot of people talk about their school time where they made really, really good, grades in language arts and no problem. They were A students. And then when you had to have them sit in math or science, they couldn't sit still. They couldn't keep their mouths shut because they weren't interested. So it's
Mm-hmm.
actually really interest based, and not everybody's hyperactivity is their bodies. Some people, it's a brain that just is constantly going and it will not stop. And so you're always popping up with new ideas and you are interrupting people, or you're trying to go to sleep
Yeah.
at night and your brain won't stop, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit in that category. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, and the creativity to start a TV show, that's a lot of people with ADHD are entrepreneurs. We see things that don't exist and create them. And we're usually not afraid to take some risks because once we know we want to do something, you really can't stop us.
And what about being a little bit disorganized? Yeah.
Very, yes. So that's an interesting thing too. Many people with ADHD struggle with chronic disorganization. I like to tell people that if you meet one person with ADHD, you meet one person, because I have a couple friends who have ADHD, and they're perfectionists. So you walk into their home and it's spotless and everything is organized because that's their coping mechanism. And
Um,
so the clutter is common, but it's not an always situation.
and one more for me is not really paying attention to details too much.
That's a very, very ADHD. We're so high
Yeah.
level, but
Yeah.
also when you have ADHD, there tends to be two times. There's now, which this is what I'm doing right now, and then there's not now. So I'm not going to think about this. So if it's not in my immediate line of sight, it's going to be pushed aside. And then a big one is the out of sight, out of mind. And that's where a lot of the clutter struggles come from. For me, I'm always screenshotting things because I am so afraid I'm going to forget it that I screenshot it to remember it. And then I forget to go back and look at my screenshots.
Yeah.
But we're very much out of sight, out of mind.
Well, I know you're going to talk about too. I mean, even though there may be some downsides to being ADHD, but there's also some upsides. But my guess, actually, my question is, I don't see how that's such a situation that it's actually had to be considered some kind of a disorder. I mean, why is that a disorder?
Well, I appreciate that you asked that. Well, one of the downsides of ADHD is that we tend to be a little more emotionally dysregulated. And so we're more sensitive about things. We might take things more personally than the average person would. We tend to struggle with anxiety because we'll ruminate over things. We would create all of these scenarios. And so where somebody just takes something for face value, when you have ADHD, you might, go down a rabbit hole, or I'll give you a perfect example of catastrophizing. So this is something that I might do. If I don't hear from my child, in a time that I think that I should hear from them, then I will immediately start going into, something, she's on the side of the road, something has happened. Like I'll come up with all these scenarios. It's very, very common with ADHD.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not so good. You know, uh, the best definition of worrying, worrying about things, is visualizing what you don't want to happen. So it's not so good to worry so much, is it?
No, it's really not good for us.
Yeah.
My dad uses the expression, worry steals tomorrow, borrows tomorrow's trouble, or something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
really, and a lot of the times we worry about things they don't even happen. But that awareness, by the way, a lot of people think, oh, why would it matter for somebody with ADHD who's a senior to understand that they have ADHD? And I say to that, is there any point in your life where you want to stop growing or understanding yourself better? Because it's life changing when somebody can then look at their lives and understand it with an ADHD lens. They will stop beating themselves up for the unfinished projects or the jobs that they quit or the struggles with relationships or the divorces, because those are all very common, or substance abuse, really common with ADHD. But when you understand it, and you can work with it, it is life changing.
Well, is that something that you're just kind of born with? I mean, is that a genetic effect or what?
Actually, it's very, very common that it runs in families. It's highly heritable. I was actually diagnosed when my oldest child was diagnosed. So I was 45. By the way, I graduated college with high honors. I, ran a successful business. It doesn't mean you can't be successful. That's the other thing, that actually a lot of people with ADHD are very, very bright. In fact, we go under the radar because we're so bright, we're compensating for
Hmm.
it. There's a term called masking. So, and I want to say this: if your listeners have a child or a grandchild with ADHD, it might be them too. Every time I present, more and more people are realizing, oh, you just talked to me. And in fact, I have to say, I wrote a book. It's called "This Explains So Much." And I was just reading a review on Amazon, so people can find it on Amazon. And someone said that he felt so seen. And we all want to be seen and understood.
Hmm. That's everybody, though. Well, so let's talk about what are the main aspect of being ADH, and then talk about so how does kind of affect your life or your aging, and then talk about also how the good aspects of
Mhm.
ADH, how that can affect your life and your aging as well.
So people with ADHD tend to struggle with lower levels of dopamine. And so we need more excitement than the
Mhm.
average person. So we'll get really bored easily. So we sometimes will go creating excitement for our lives. We'll act impulsively. We'll shop impulsively. We'll, eat sugar because we're trying to get that hit. A lot of people cope with a substance. In fact, a lot of people who had ADHD, like my grandparents, were smoking because that nicotine had a calming effect.
Mhm.
I describe my ADHD as sort of like a brain that's just always going. It's like I'm driven by a motor. I have a really hard time slowing down. Another way that people with ADHD are impacted, we already talked about that, was that emotional dysregulation. We overreact to things.
Uh,
We're more sensitive. We're actually, and that's also good because we're a weather vane. So that means when somebody is off or something is off, we can really sense their energy, and we're highly empathetic. So sometimes we will take on other people's worry, and we absorb it. And then big area where we struggle is with executive functioning. And executive functioning is prioritizing tasks. It's making decisions. It's planning. So people with ADHD, maybe if you're thinking now and not now, maybe they're not saving properly for retirement, or they're spending impulsively because they're not thinking through the consequences. So that's definitely. And then I would say a lot of people have a lot of struggles in family relationships, that when you then understand that you're two emotionally dysregulated people coming out of relationship and you're very sensitive. And that's what happened with my mom and me when we discovered her ADHD, is that all of a sudden we could relate to each other really differently. And we recognize now, okay, she's being oversensitive, and we can talk, we have words for it.
mhm. Okay, so if you are diagnosed with ADHD, what do you recommend? What kind of things should you do, or certain treatments, or
Sure.
what do you recommend?
So if you suspect that you have ADHD, it's and this is one of the reasons that I'm out here doing this work, is that there's a lot of doctors who, and in fact, my mother's doctor said, well, we don't give medication to older adults. It's actually not always the case. The problem is that a lot of adults don't really want to pay attention to older adults. And a lot of times there are other medical conditions going on, and those are the priorities. But some people are candidates for medication, and they are life changing. Not everybody needs to medicate. There's an expression: pills don't teach skills. So it's just an understanding. Like, so for instance, here's a perfect example. I was doing laundry. I got back from a conference. I immediately put my dirty clothes into the wash. But because I had gotten back from the conference, I was speeding through life. Well, 2 days later, I go to put something in the washing machine and realize that I had left my wash in the machine for 2 days. And of course, it smells. And now
Yeah.
I have to go wash it again. So now I anticipate, okay, I need to set my timer. I wear a watch now, which I wouldn't have done before because I thought it would be a distraction. But now I will set a timer, make sure to take the laundry out. So it's building scaffolding and being aware. So, it's understanding and having the tools. And I would like to say that we thrive in community. We need accountability. We need validation. We need gamification. And we need to stop feeling shame. So one of the things that I'm doing, I'm creating a Grandma Has ADHD community. And so, by the way, you don't have to be a grandma, but my podcast is called Grandma Has ADHD because it's catchy and because it was more common that women would not have been diagnosed than men, because a lot of men tend to present hyperactive ADHD. So we think of that little boy in the class. Everybody can remember that little hyperactive kid, right, Rico?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think about the girl in the back who was quiet, who was daydreaming, who was sensitive, because she didn't get diagnosed. And so you have whole generations of women who just were completely missed. And so that's why I called it Grandma. And I do have a website that people can find me and more information on both the podcast, or not both the podcast, the coaching, and on my senior move management business, which I also want to share with your listeners, because my company is Silver Linings Transitions, and we handle the entire move for somebody, which is another ADHD function. It's planning, it's organizing. But most people, even whether you have ADHD or not, most people don't like moving. They find it to be very difficult. Yeah. Especially as we age and we have to go through our belongings. We have to make decisions about what we're going to keep and not keep. So in the San Diego and Coachella Valley area, my business is Silver Linings Transitions. But if somebody is listening outside of that area, we're part of a national organization that your listeners can find. It's called NASM, the National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers, and it's NASMM.org. And you can find all of that under because I'm doing when you have ADHD, you tend to also have like so many things going on.
Yeah.
It's hard because I feel like I've got so much energy and so much I want to contribute that I can't cap it and just limit it to one thing. So my website is actually Jami Shapiro, JAMI Shapiro, SHAPIRO.me, because I couldn't get .com for my own name.
Yeah, so good. Well, thank you. We're actually out of time. Thanks for all that great information, and thanks for the work that you're doing. And yeah, I highly recommend you. We'll put all those links how they can contact you in our show description. So I highly recommend that. Maybe we should make a note. Me too. Write down a note that you want to contact Jami. That's what I do, because when I get a thought I need to do something, I better make a note so I don't forget.
Yes, yeah. That's very ADHD. By the way, I do want to share one more thing with your guests, and that is that a lot of times ADHD can mimic early signs of dementia. And so that awareness is really, really important. So forgetting names, forgetting where you parked your car, or forgetting words. Like I'll be like, what's the word I'm trying to use? I don't have dementia. I have ADHD. Yeah, so I love what you're doing. And I do think that we should want to age. I had cancer at 34 and I want to age, and I'm trying to do it fearlessly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And again, thanks for the work that you're doing. And thanks to our audience for being here as well.
Laughter as medicine. How humor can help you heal. Laughter really can be like medicine. There are a variety of benefits associated with laughter. Humor can be infectious. It forms a bond between people because it provides an increase in happiness and intimacy. It provides a common ground for both new and old friends. In addition to being good for your mental health, laughter also provides healthy physical changes in your body. What sort of physical benefits are given when you laugh? Sharing a laugh strengthens your immune system, boosts your energy, diminishes pain, and protects you from the damaging effects of stress. It is a fun, free, and easy form of medicine. Benefit number 1. Laughter heals the body and the mind. A powerful antidote for stress, pain, and conflict. A good laugh brings both your mind and body into balance. It connects you with the people that you are laughing with, while keeping you focused on the positive. The ability to laugh easily and frequently will help enhance your relationships with other people, while supporting both your physical and emotional health. Research shows that laughter can be good for your health in these 4 ways. It relaxes the whole body. A hearty laugh releases tension and stress, which leaves your muscles relaxed for up to 45 minutes. It boosts the immune system. It decreases stress hormones, which slow down immunity, while increasing white blood cells, improving your defense against diseases and infections. It triggers endorphin release. Endorphins are the body's natural feel-good chemicals. They promote a sense of well-being and will also aid in temporary pain relief. It protects the heart. Laughter improves blood vessel function and an increase in blood flow, which can help protect against a heart attack and other cardiovascular issues. Benefit number 2. Humor helps you stay emotionally healthy. The good feeling that you get when you laugh remains with you for a while after it occurs. Humor helps you to keep a more optimistic outlook through difficult situations, such as disappointment or even loss. While it provides a reprieve from pain and sadness, laughter gives you the strength to overcome life's problems and to find a source of hope. It goes a long way when it comes to helping you feel better. The fact that laughter is contagious is another bonus. Hearing the sound of laughing will prime your brain into wanting to join the fun. There is a link between mental health and laughter. It can remove negative emotions. When you laugh, anxiety and sadness subsides. It allows you to relax and recharge. Laughter reduces stress while increasing energy levels, which helps you to remain focused on more positive things. It shifts your perspective. Even the worst situations can be seen in a more realistic, less threatening light. It distances your mind from a troubling thought or emotion, which will take away that overwhelming feeling. Benefit number 3. Laughter provides a wealth of social benefits. Humorous communication will strengthen relationships because it triggers positive feelings, and it provides an emotional connection with another person. A positive bond will act against negative elements such as stress, discord, or disappointment. Laughing with others is so much better than laughing alone. A shared laugh will keep established relationships fresh by adding joy. It will heal resentments, past hurts, and disagreements. Basically, laughter unites people even in the most difficult situations. When humor is present in your relationships, it will improve their quality and increase the connection. Laughter and humor in your relationships will allow you to embrace spontaneity. Humor will get you to leave your troubled thoughts behind. Stop being defensive. Laughter will put an end to judgment and doubt of other people. Let go of inhibitions. The fear of holding back will be set aside. Express your feelings and thoughts. Your true self shines through when negative emotional barriers are cast aside. How to bring more laughter into your life. Laughter is a natural part of life. If you grew up in a household where laughter was uncommon, or if you find it difficult to find humor due to past troubles, laughter can still become a part of your life no matter what stage you are at. You can start by setting aside a time to seek out an opportunity to laugh. Eventually, you will find that you can laugh more freely and find humor in more situations. Here are some helpful ways to bring laughter into your life. Number 1. Smile. Like laughter, it is also contagious. Number 2. Make a list of what you are thankful for. When you consider all of the good things in your life, it will help you to move away from negative thoughts and feelings that weigh you down. Number 3. Move toward laughter. More often than not, if you hear another group of people laughing, ask them what's funny, and they will be happy to tell you. It will give them an opportunity to laugh again. Number 4. Associate with fun, playful people. People who laugh easily will be great companions, as their humor and zest for life can rub off on you. Number 5. Add humor to conversations. Ask people what the funniest thing was that happened to them that week or that day. It is sure to bring some much-needed laughter your way. How to develop a sense of humor. The best way to develop a sense of humor is not to take yourself or others so seriously. Of course, there are moments and events where laughter is not appropriate or wanted, but most events in life are neither happy nor sad. They fall into the gray area of ordinary life, which gives people a choice to either laugh or not laugh. There are things you can do to start seeing the brighter side of life. Number 1. Laugh at yourself. Share some funny or embarrassing moments with other people. It will help you to see yourself in another light. Number 2. Laugh at situations rather than becoming upset. Most bad situations have an element of humor, be it irony or absurdity to them. Laughing at a strange moment can help you obtain a better outlook. Number 3. Deal with stress. Stress will impede laughter and positive emotions. Take steps to eliminate it from your life. Number 4. Emulate happy people. Look at children who are experts at taking situations and life lightly. Befriend people who love life and enjoy laughter.
All right, that's this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take action on what you learn. Get a hold of our experts. They got a lot of great things to offer you. And so if you enjoyed today's show, tell your friends about the Fearless Aging TV show. And and you can subscribe to our channel. The link will be in the show description. Thanks very much for being here. Go out and make it a better world.